What happens, you know, if the sun doesn't shine, if it pours with rain, or the tourists just don't come because they haven't got the money? How much longer can you last?
Well, I think we can last. I think people are realising that they're not going abroad, and I think they're realising that our country, and certainly Cornwall, is just such a stunning place, and most miss it.
Next.
Just talking to Ian out there, I mean, it's fingers crossed, isn't it, for this season? You don't know how it's going to pan out, do you, Sue?
It's looking good, though.
Why do you say that, Kirsty?
Bookings are up 50% this time last year, and we're having a lot more inquiries.
Oh, God.
How are you being treated by your banks? Are they saying, look, Tony, Julie, we understand times are hard, do you need a bit of extra cash here, or are they saying something different?
Payments haven't been too bad. I've not had a problem particularly, and I must admit that I've been on
Fascinating.
very helpful.
Brilliant,
and,
great,
at the moment,
great,
I've not had any
brilliant.
problems.
Oh, Jesus.
How are things holding up in this economic downturn for you?
It's not too bad, actually. It's looking good for the coming season.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Why are you optimistic?
Look, I don't want to underplay recession, but guys like you and the newspapers do love a lousy story about how we're going to have a handcart.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
in many ways, what's
Fascinating.
happening, I think is a really good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, whatever.
You know, sometimes you see something on the news that makes you realise the crossover between current affairs and celebrities really has gone too far.
I'm John, I'm Edward, and you're watching Sky News for the latest on John and Edward.
Stars are everywhere. They're invited to explain public health campaigns.
You're here to tell us the pale is good.
Pale is great, yes.
It's a good message to all viewers.
They're patiently asked their expert opinion on Gordon Brown's chances.
I think he's dogged enough to try and stick it out. But if the momentum keeps on going the way that it does, he won't be able to survive.
They even queue up to flog any old tut on the Andrew Marr show.
From one Australian megastar to another, Rolf Harris. I'm going to be talking to Rolf in a moment, but first a quick blast from Christmas in the Sun, his latest musical foray.
Christmas in the sun, come on down and join us for a Christmas in the sun.
Yeah, it's making current affairs look a bit shit, really.
Celebrities, of course, get an easy time of it compared to politicians.
Put Sky's well-respected Adam Bolton opposite a politician and he won't shy away from asking difficult questions.
But stick a star in his island and tickety-tock, it's bum kiss o'clock.
Now Sir Anthony Hopkins is showcasing his own paintings at exhibitions in London and Edinburgh.
Yes, it seems Sir Hannibal's done some paintings so marvellous even noted critic Adam Bolton struggles to describe them.
There's sort of two sorts, it seems. They're realist landscapes, and then they're the more sort of fantastical dreamscapes.
To be fair, that is probably the 9th best painting of a purple elephant I've seen since primary school.
I just follow my instinct. I paint in a childlike way. I don't have a sense of... I have no training in perspective.
No.
So I just paint as a...
Rich man with time on his hands?
Did it help you playing Picasso? Has that helped you as an artist?
Yes.
Jesus, Bolton's being so deferential, it's as though he's mistaken him for some kind of ancient forest god.
Sir Anthony Hopkins, Wolfman, Thor and artist. A lot to look forward to. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
5 News is the logical extension of all this starry ring-licking. Often it's not like a news bulletin at all, more like watching a boy reading Heat magazine off on auto cue.
For our latest celebrity report, Louise Redknapp explains how she's hoping to give glamour a good name.
Hi, I'm here in Selfridges in London where we're preparing for the really great garage sale.
The sole benefit to using Louise Redknapp as a celebrity reporter is it helpfully marks the ultimate low.
I mean, really, nothing could possibly be worse than that.
Tiger 4! Okay, if you like, Jed, well, you're going to love tonight's show.
Yes, you are, because we're going to be hearing from the boys later on, plus all the stars from the National TV Awards.
We'll be asking if you would choose laughs over looks, and we'll also be hearing from Simon Cowell.
We're live from Studio 5!
I take that back.
Yes, Live from Studio 5 is the first news programme broadcast directly from hell. Hosted by a large-breasted duckling, an incoherent footballer and a 200-foot wall of searing white tooth enamel, it's a nightmarish parade of one lightweight item after another, like being force-fed marshmallows by a bastard in a glittery hat.
Incredibly, this actually counts towards 5's news output, the stuff it has to broadcast as part of its public service remit.
Still, they do cover the issues. Issues like, are hairy legs horrid?
Why on earth would you not shave your legs? I just don't get it.
Is Ricky Gervais funny or hilarious? And should you give money to the homeless or just f*** them off?
Well, give them a sandwich, give them the time of day, they're human beings, but don't give them cash on the streets.
Sometimes there's so much heated debate you can't even hear it.
Generations of my generation, all of them get beaten. Wales, we used to show each other Wales on our team.
It is too much, and also there's a strange double standard that goes on.
Largely, though, Studio 5 covers celebrities, and it really cares about their well-being.
David Hasselhoff, what can we say? The Hoff, what's going on with this fella? Reports from America say he's been taken to hospital because of his drinking again even. Now, apparently 17-year-old daughter Hayley had to raise the alarm when she found him totally sozzled at his home in LA. It's the second time she's had to do this. Why does he keep doing this to his daughter? He's got to get a grip on him, surely.
Still, if you want entertainment news, where better to look than an entertainment news show?
But surely if you're an entertainment news show, you should at least attempt to deal with the news aspect and not just act like an unconditional arse-kissing machine.
For instance, those of you with long memories will recall last week we told you the story of Dappy from the group N-Dubs, who'd made headlines by sending threatening texts, even though he was helping front a government anti-bullying campaign at the time. He and his group were dropped from the campaign, which was quite big news in the tabloids, although Live from Studio 5 didn't seem that interested.
No idea why. Coincidentally, the following week, the band were guests on the show.
They were interviewed live on air and quizzed for 5.5 minutes with not one mention of the text story.
Instead, they were asked which Brit nomination they wished they'd got.
Best group, best
breakthrough. Best breakthrough as well.
There were other equally probing questions.
So what have you all been up to? Enjoying yourselves?
Holidays,
Lovely.
Sent any texts recently? Still, it's not surprising they were treated like kings, because when you do ask difficult questions, as ITN did last year when they questioned the band's suitability to front the anti-bullying campaign in the first place, you quickly get your knuckles wrapped.
By putting yourselves up as a champion for children...
We don't put ourselves up as that.
You have by taking this role as ambassadors.
But bullying, for me...
From what I'm seeing right now, you're putting my band in a very, very uncomfortable position by attacking them.
I don't feel I'm asking them how they can justify selling lyrics to children, which are so explicit. That's a perfectly justifiable...
We're not here about that. We're here about an anti-bullying campaign.
It may not seem important, but as celebs get increasingly involved with issues, they're also increasingly able to get away with the sort of thing a spokesperson never would.
The relationship between stars and the press is a one-way street. Put us on your show, plug us silly, but don't act like journalists or we won't come back, and neither will any of our other showbiz friends.
But perhaps the worst thing about all this celeb slurping is it's boring.
I mean, who really gives a toss about Sunita's gold boots?
It can sometimes be entertaining when the news gets a famous person on, especially if they genuinely grill them.
Just ask the Newsnight viewers who watched in astonishment as Mr. Issues himself, Stingford Stingington Sting, wandered unwittingly into the Paxman Thunderdome.
Do you ever feel uncomfortable travelling between your various homes in various continents at enormous carbon cost? Do you ever feel uncomfortable about that?
I think it's an amusing red herring for the media to blame celebrities for the global crisis we're in. But
you're not being blamed for it, you're just being accused of hypocrisy, that's all.
The economy can be a difficult thing to understand, especially when the news has tried to explain it to you. Have a look at this.
Every day there's been baffling new terminology to learn, with the latest being quantitative easing, the Bank of England's recent attempt to stop the economy tumbling into a great big bin full of bums. Now, unless you speak fluent jargon, it's not immediately clear what quantitative easing actually is.
In fact, as Newsnight found out when they hit the streets to ask human beings, even Brainiac Moss from the IT crowd doesn't know what it is.
The easing of quantitativeness.
Thank God, then, that the news is on hand to describe exactly what quantitative easing is in easy-to-follow metaphorical steps.
Put simply, quantitative easing is a tool for fixing a blockage in an economy that isn't running smoothly.
There you go, it's a sort of spanner, made of money.
But how does it work?
Well, I suppose you twist it into the stock market.
It's like creating money out of thin air or filling up a petrol tank with imaginary petrol. That is what most economists agree is needed to get any recovery started.
Oh, God, he isn't making any sense. What I need is someone who can't help but speak in profoundly simple terms.
Hello, welcome to 5 News. I'm Natasha Kaplinsky.
I'm preemptively chuckling because I reckon she's about to tell us it's designed to encourage the banks and arse to get lending and spending.
It is designed to encourage the banks and arse to get lending and spending. Our chief correspondent Jonathan Samuels investigates whether these measures will help an economy that's been going off the rails.
Why, Natasha, that almost sounds like a cue for a bad railway metaphor.
The economy at the moment seems to be like a runaway train.
Great, all right, let's see you run with this one.
The government's been pulling lots of levers behind the scenes to try and slow down the economic crisis, but it's got to such a stage now that they're trying a different track.
Just tell me how it works.
It's called quantitative easing. The idea is to pump more money into the economy and get banks lending again.
Toot toot, the economy's made of trains.
We once had a model economy. The government hopes the latest measures will mean we soon see light at the end of the tunnel.
As anyone with eyes, ears and a brain knows, politicians don't always come across too well on TV, and they're often their own worst enemy, as any viewer who's sat through a party political broadcast will tell you.
Without interviewers holding them to account, politicians can easily seem stuffy or complacent.
I think we can be fairly satisfied the way things have gone lately, don't you, Ram?
Yes, well, we've got through our programme very well, and I've just come from the House, and we're right up to date.
Or weird and creepy.
We believe in Britain. We're all in this together. Good luck to you all, and good night.
Or bolshy and needy.
Stand firm. Don't be swayed. Give us a chance.
Or young and sexy.
Neil Kinnock's greatest asset is his youth.
Or grey and boring. Or Scottish and boring and sitting at a desk.
Good evening.
Good God, it's footage of Gordon Brown in the womb.
You'd be better off with Labour.
And when they're not telling you you're better off with Labour, they're telling you the economic situation is getting better more quickly than anybody thought this time last year.
There's no doubt that the economic situation is getting better, and it's getting better more quickly than anybody thought this time last year.
Even when politicians simply try and drum up support, they come across like a weird cult.
I just came to realise that if I believed in those principles and I supported what the Labour Party was doing, then I should really join up and play a part in trying to change things.
Yes, no matter how many zhuzhy modern TV techniques they employ to pass themselves off as normal people, politicians seem doomed to come across as snake oil salesmen or pricks. Maybe they could do with help from someone who really knows how TV works.
Somebody a bit like Simon Cowell.
Yes, entertainment deity Simon Cowell recently outlined his plan to redefine political TV in a revealing and ominous interview on the BBC's Heavyweight News Night.
You've said in the past that the X Factor could have other applications. What about some kind of political engagement for the X Factor?
Yeah, because it's the sort of thing I'd like to watch. There are so many really, really, really hot topics. And
like
I think,
what?
well, for instance, should we or should we be in Iraq and Afghanistan? If you actually asked most people in the country, why are we there? I couldn't even tell you.
Simon might like to know that an X Factor-style political show has been tried before in the form of ITV's snazzy political bear pit Vote For Me, which had all the usual talent show ingredients: a shiny studio, a panel of expert judges, an eager amateur lineup and a phone vote, and which, to the channel's embarrassment, was won by extreme right-winger Rodney Hilton-Potts.
Thank you very much. Finally, candidate number one, Rodney, tell us one thing you care about. Your time starts now.
Our pensioners didn't fight 2 world wars to save this great country, to have it swamped with immigrants.
Vote For Me wasn't a hit, but then it didn't have a red telephone in the middle.
We would have a red telephone in the middle, which is at any time someone from number 10 can call in. But I think something like that would be a good way for me to get involved in politics in my own way, which is it would be controversial. The public would eventually make the decision.
You know, I dread to think what a controversial political X Factor in which the public gets to decide might look like.
He's the most divisive politician in Britain today. He denied climate change. He denied the existence of black Welshmen.
There's no such thing as a black Welshman.
He denied 6 million dead.
I'm not a racist, no.
It's time.
That was a lynch mob.
To face Nick Griffin.
Well, that's all we've got time for in this compilation edition. Go away.
Coming up next tonight, Mark Lawson settles in for a chat with the star of our all-new Corridors of Power season drama on expenses, actor Brian Cox.